Testing. Mm. Yes.
It's Mark Husson's Astrology Hour. Time for you to expect something wonderful.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome. It's Mark Husson. This is Mark's Astrology Hour coming to you live at 9 a.m. Mountain Time, 8 a.m. Pacific Time, 11 a.m. on the East Coast. How are you? I think I might be getting a little more comfortable with this live stream stuff. I hope you'll notice, and I hope you'll give me feedback if everything's okay. I hope you can join us over at YouTube. The links have been sent. They're posted on Facebook. They were sent in the email, so I'm not going to go through a whole bunch of how to get here, but if you can search for Mark's Astrology Hour on YouTube and click live at the top, you should be able to see the stream. How you doing? It's a Scorpio moon. I'm so glad. I'm so grateful for Scorpio. We have a lot to talk about today. I'm going to talk about everything we need to know. Well, no, I'm not. There's too much to know. But I am going to talk about the things that I think are important. Happy St. Patty's Day. I forgot the rules about St. Patrick's Day. Like if you wear green, if you're Irish, I don't know. So I was like, should I put green on? But I have sympathy. My collar has a ton of colors in it. So I'm going to just use that as the, I have some green if I get in trouble. I hope you guys are doing well. We love all people. So if you're Irish, this is your day to celebrate. Good for you. I hope you do it safely and have some fun. Now, the moon went into Scorpio last night at 12:30. I'm not doing the Facebook chat, by the way, you guys, so hopefully you can find the chat room. Yay, I can see it. Becky, thank you. Okay, Infinite Light, Shelly, thank you for being here. Hippie Kitchen, thank you, Audra, for being here. All right, good. Thank you, Arlene. Okay, I'm going to do this every now and then. I'm going to walk over to the chat room. The chat room for you guys to talk to each other. I get a little feedback that people don't like for me to kind of stop my stream of consciousness talking and look over. Forget people. I don't care. No, I mean, it is good for me too. So I'll check in periodically in the chat room. We'll do it in stages, but welcome, Nadine. Thank you so much for being here. Hi, Carrie. I got new glasses too. They're chunky things. I'm going to show you my desk here to show you the Mars and Pisces thing, but every now and then I'm just going to raise an object that's here so you can see, like, if you picture a desk like this really clean, neat desk, you're in for a treat. But I'm going to show you, but I'm going to start with this. This is a laser tape measure that's sitting on my desk. Why is it here? I'm not sure yet, but we're going to figure it out. So again, welcome to everybody that's here. I'm going to get into what's happening because there's so much. Now, I wanted to do the big me image, and then we're going to switch over and see, yes, it worked. Okay, so I'm going to shrink myself down and bring the chart up a little bit. There we go. So if you're seeing this live, hopefully you're able to see the chart and can join in the fun. Now, I did send this chart out, so it's not a big deal, but visually, you don't have to understand astrology to really get into the mechanisms here. There's a bunch of planets down here located at the bottom. That's not how a chart always looks, okay? So I want, just visually, you can just make it a mandala, like make it a symbolic piece of art that you go, this is interesting. And if you just took a thing like this and looked at all the, of the areas just as a piece of art, you'd say, wow, that's heavily weighted at the bottom there, right? You don't have to know anything else, just heavily weighted at the bottom. So thank you. And yeah, every now and then I look over and I want to give each and every one of you a hug. I'll do that in a little bit, I promise. But thank you for fighting your way to get here. Terry, thank you. You're so funny. Yeah, I know GQ has a lot of meanings. Gorilla Quartet, whatever. So here's the thing. Today, this is the chart of what's happening on the 20th. And on the 20th at exactly 2:01 a.m., this is the fun sheet of paper John gives me. He writes this out for me when I do the Power Peak, so I can like get it all typed in the headings, and CA can give you her brilliant interpretations, right? And so at 2:01 a.m. on Thursday, Pacific time, the sun will enter the sign of Aries. At that moment, it's spring. They are related. So Western astrology, our astrology, the one that we use, is closely, intimately, directly tied into the seasons. It's called tropical astrology because it's tied into the seasons. Because at one point, the first day of spring did tie in celestially with Aries, constellation of Aries. Okay, the earth wobbles, it changes a little bit. But people who get it, the collective consciousness of this, understand that for thousands of years, children born under this energy were noticed to be significantly different. Okay. I love that because I see, like, in my mind, it's like an Aries person is like writing and I say something like that and they lift their head up. Huh? So anyway, we do the tropical zodiac. We do the idea. We are in the idea that when the sun enters the sign of Aries, it's also the first day of spring. Or when the first day of spring, when it's equal day, equal night. The vernal equinox means green equal days. So it's the first day of spring, as opposed to the autumnal equinox, which is also equinox meaning equal. So it's good to have that word sound similar. But it's where it's equal day, equal night on the autumnal equinox, first day of autumn. And so now that's in the Northern Hemisphere. We know Australia has it reversed to us. But they're celebrating basically the vernal equinox is an autumnal equinox for them. All right, don't get too confused. All of the energies do the same thing. In other words, even though they're going into a sleep cycle, a sort of withdrawing light cycle, energetically it is still an Aries cycle. It's still one where their energy is picking up. Okay, we'll talk about that someday. We'll get some Australia experts in. So on that day, on Wednesday the 20th, we have this new cycle of birth, where tons of energy that's been asleep and dormant during the winter starts pushing through the soil of the little tiny seed. And so it's like a ton of power. And everybody born under this energy, everybody born with the sun in Aries particularly, has this sort of warrior spirit in them. And the story is really kind of fascinating because it is the story, one of the stories I like to use is Jason and the Argonauts, but it's so nuanced because it has a lot to do with the quest, the hero's journey, the hero being usurped of his power, the hero being forced to go on a quest by an evil relative, forced to find their true inner self, their true inner power. This applies to men and women. The myth is about this warrior and what he did and what he sacrificed and the deals he made with people to achieve this. And mostly it's about the overcoming of the obstacle of the tyrant. So basically, inside of every Aries that you've ever known and inside of the area of your life, see on the outside wheel, there's the sign of the ram. It looks like a little sprout too, but it's also the horns of a ram. The glyph on the outside of your wheel, this is the area we're talking about. This is where you also have 2,000 PSIs of pressure wanting to push through the soil to express itself in its warrior spirit. And every Aries, and every place you have Aries, deals with this sense of overcoming. The sense where the anima, the male aspect, is looking to prove, but needs and requires the female aspect within ourselves to succeed, because that's in the myth where Jason actually, in order to get the golden fleece, which was the ram's skin that had turned to gold, he needed the help of Hera, of Medea. He needed the help of the goddesses who were along the way all driven to support him, which is a metaphor for bringing the two components of ourselves together. And every Aries knows this. Every Aries deals with how to temper the force within them, because society says, whoa, that's way too strong, or whoa, you're way too independent, or whoa, you're too aggressive. And for the Aries, it's sort of like using society as a way to push back on those boundaries, to push back, to say, oh, am I? Am I? And if you were born in the generation, which there are many of you, with Saturn in Aries, you're about to have your Saturn return. So you should be either 26 or 28, or close to 28, 29, or 56, 57. If you're in that age group, you lived your whole life putting that Aries energy on guard. Because that's what Saturn has to do. Figure out, what do I do with this energy? It's either like this intensity, or I've got to shut it all the way down. And you learn that. And I think it's where we become the most powerful in our lives, is where we are up against resistance out here. I am really convinced giving our children some effort to overcome a puzzle to solve, an emotional dilemma to work through, is one of the only ways to get them to really appreciate and grow in that sort of richness that people who struggle have. And I know most of you here identify with the struggle because we've had it. But without that struggle, I think that we have a misunderstanding and a misuse of that energy. And we're going to talk a little bit about why it is important to understand this Aries stuff, because, as you know, we're going to lose Pisces here shortly, next week exactly, after a 14, maybe 17-year stint. I got to count them up, but after a long time, it's about 14 years that Neptune goes in a sign, it's going to enter Aries. And imagine 14 years in a sign, and then there's 12 signs. So it takes a while to come back around. The Civil War was last time Neptune went into Aries. Do we have to have another Civil War? We're probably already having one. I mean, if you haven't looked at your politics in recent years, even as early as yesterday, and thought there is a difference, there's two different worlds happening, then you're probably smart to have not paid attention. Okay. So I'm not saying there will be a civil war. What I am saying is, if we understand the magic of Aries, if we understand how to use it, we are going to be blown away by the magic that we're able to do. Because I'll tell you what, I'm a little tired of Pisces, and I'm a water sign. I'm a little tired of this sort of like, oh my God, my feelings just got hurt. That's in me, not you all. It's like how often I went into this resistance, to this sort of like place where I was feeling a compassion or a hurt or a wound, because part of it's so windy out that my umbrella just blew over and hit the window. In case you heard that, I'll have to show it to you. I wonder if I can do that. I think I can. Let me just show you this. This is funny. I need to make a mess out of everything, right? I don't see. Let me see if you... No, that's the wrong one. All right, never mind. We'll just leave it. I got everything so set up. But right here is an umbrella knocking at my window that just got knocked down. The wind this morning was so bad that it lifted little Duncan off his little feet, and he got so freaked out that I had to carry him. It's so cute. And I had to talk in a voice of like, it's okay, boo. That's like so fun. That was so much fun. Ooh, let's do it again. Poor baby. Anyway, this Aries thing is going to be the relief that you've been wanting to feel from the Pisces pool that we've been swimming in. Now, Neptune right now is at 29 degrees of Pisces. Let me talk to you about degrees for a minute. Every sign has 30. So there's no such thing as really 30. It's 29:59, just like a clock. At 59 seconds, okay, this is like space time. When a planet goes to 59 seconds, it goes into the next number. Well, 29:59 for Pisces is one more second later, time space second. This isn't like a literal clock second. When it flips over, which is about probably, it could be 2 hours later, it goes into 0 Aries. So at 29:59, it's 0 Aries. If you look at this chart, it's 29:37 minutes. Okay. And so if you think about this is Wednesday and that this is going to move into Aries by the following Monday, that's how many days these seconds take to tick. So it's a long time, more than an hour for sure. And what happens is Monday, Neptune finally dips a full entire body into Aries for a very long period of time. It's going to come back in. By the end of the year, it's going to go back into Pisces just for a brief like reminder and then come into Aries for permanent. So we're going to get a feel, okay? And this is our second time. I think this is our second time getting a feel. Pluto did the same thing. You remember the election? Pluto was in Aquarius all year and then went back in 2024, was in all year in Aquarius. And then in November at the election, went back into Capricorn. Like, okay, we're going to go back to something else. and it went back, and it was almost like the writing was so clear we were going to relive a certain era, but with a higher octave. Hopefully, I'm not casting any aspersions. I don't do that anymore. Yeah, I do. I cast aspersions, but not politically. I'm refraining because our focus is astrology. I want us to have escape from the daily news and things like that. Now we'll use news when it applies to what's going on in the world. But right now, I want you to focus on the fact that wherever Aries is in your life, at 0 Aries, wherever it is, and you can find it really easy. Just look on the outside of your wheel for Aries, and it probably has a number greater than 0, like a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4. And so it'll just be in counterclockwise motion in the house right before on the other side of that Aries. So if it's wherever it is, if it's here where I'm moving my mouse where this Virgo is, if Aries was right there at 3, let's pretend this was 3 degrees Aries, it's going to land here counterclockwise in the 8th house. It's pretty easy to do if you listen to it and just you can replay that over and over, but you can find out where that Neptune's residing. Wherever Neptune is right now in your chart, in the sky, the Neptune in the sky, if you've had a transit chart run, it'll still be there Monday, most likely. Very rare case it's going to move in somebody's chart over a few seconds to a new house. That's where a new reset begins. Now, what else is resetting? Neptune's not the only thing in Aries. The sun is in Aries. That happens on Wednesday. We talked about it, 30 days worth of Aries. Venus is in Aries. Okay, and Venus is retrograding in Aries, meaning it's moving backwards. Mercury is in Aries. Mercury is retrograding in Aries. And what a retrograde means is that it's going to be there for quite some time, longer than normal. And what you have to do, what we have to do is use that to our advantage because that's easy to do. We get to make choices based on this. Now, let's talk a little bit about some of the choices Aries make. The impulsive, not good choices Aries make are the Aries part of our charts. If you're an Aries moon, Aries rising, Aries sun, wherever you have Aries in your chart and whatever house it rules, on the outside wheel here, wherever Aries is, in this particular example of a chart that I'm showing you, Aries is ruling the 4th house, okay? Boom. It's like the clockwise house, boom. No, the counterclockwise house, I apologize. Counterclockwise house. So this Aries is the ruler of the 4th. If it was here, it would be ruler of the 8th. Okay, now, just want to make sure I said all that right and where these guys were. Okay, good. So if you, one of the ways that an Aries doesn't act with integrity or does not act good is impulse. Because deep down inside, if they're not listening to the feminine aspect, the anima, then if they're listening to the male aspect, which is like, I got to prove this, I got to do it. And like what an Aries knee-jerk reaction is, and in the old mythology where the ram was being cornered by, what was it? The ram was being cornered. The ram was attacking a little something. You remember? It was like a rabbit or a snake or something. Anyway, it was about to kill it, the ram was, and the animal that it was attacking said, I bet you can't jump that cliff, because I've been trying to and I just can't, but I bet you could. And the Aries goes, of course I could. And the little animal was like, yeah, I don't think you could. That's silly. And so challenged the ram, and the ram jumps and dies. Moral of the story, Aries can't resist proving themselves. They can't resist the challenge. And so that's us during this cycle. Are you doing things because you need to prove that you can do them? Or is there something else in there that you're touching base with inside yourself that says, this is good for me, this heals my soul, this is where I want to be? Because I fight that a lot in myself. I fight the idea of where I'm going to, like, am I doing this because I love it? Am I doing this because it's good for me? Or am I doing it because everybody thinks I shouldn't? And it's a big one, constant. And you know what? It's going to get worse. It's going to get louder. Okay, so this is the moment of the show where I now bring up another object that's sitting on my desk that has no place here. I should play a game with you guys, and whoever sends me the email of what they saw. Here's another one. There's hundreds of things here. We have all day. Okay, do you mind if I take a break? Let me look in the chat room real quick. Renee's in the house. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you, Renee. Hi, Inga, Terry, thank you. Shelly, Carla, Gypsy. I appreciate you too, Carla. Thank you, Gypsy. Hi, I see you here, but not on Facebook. I'm not going to be on Facebook. I'm leaving Facebook for the chat rooms. If you saw how I was managing it, you'd be like, thank God, just stay away. Lynn's in the house. Hi, Lynn was having trouble with Wi-Fi, so just got joining. Thanks for being here. You're never too late for the party. You're always such a contribution. Hi, JK. Welcome, Melissa. Good morning, Aries, Moon, and Sun. You have my attention. Yahoo! That's so cute. Becky, thank you. Hi, honey. Welcome. Carrie, Sun, Mercury, and Mars in Aries. Anne, hi, Anne. Welcome. Okay, you guys. So here's the thing. I might have missed some of the ones up higher, but you all definitely talk among yourselves as well. So this energy, the reason we're happy to get rid of the Pisces energy is because it's been like soup. And when a planet gets to 29 degrees of a sign, when a planet gets to that very last degree, everything is like, okay, saturated enough. I don't need this. Please go on. We get tired. We get kind of tired of it. And Neptune is at 29. So there's going to be some soupy attacks, right? We're going to try to bring that energy. Listen, the antidote, I want you to try to get this phrase right. The antidote to Neptune in astrology is Mars. Now, let's talk about that for a minute. Mars is the ruler of Aries. Neptune rules Pisces. The antidote, when you want to snap out of being connected to somebody, how do you do it? Rage, anger. You ever had that when you're about to get romantic and then you're pissed? Now you don't want anything to do with them. What's it do? It pushes you apart. You have a good friend and all of a sudden you're pissed. You don't want anything to do with them. I need space. Okay? So as Neptune gets more and more thick in the watery realms, we're going to be pushing out some things. I've been complaining. Oh my gosh, I've been complaining. I've made complaining an art form for real. I have Jupiter in Virgo and I have a Scorpio moon rising Saturn there. I can find something to complain about. It's so adorable when now it's so cute. I didn't even know I had these little quirks, but when we're getting ready to eat and John's like, putting something together, I'm like, why did you switch bowls? He goes, I know, I mixed the salad in that bowl and I didn't want you getting weird about thinking it was a used bowl. I'm like, I don't do that. And he almost fell over. He was like, oh my God. So, okay, I do that. I guess I get weird. I see things. I can't get it out of my brain. I don't want to talk stuff that's unappetizing at dinner. I can't. I get it in my head. I don't want to smell anything that's unappetizing. Well, he'll get a special Mexican dish that has a spice that I may not like. And he goes, oh my God, this smells so good. Smell it. And I go, wait a minute. You know my list. Is it in there? He goes, oh yeah, it is. Because it sticks with me. I can't get a smell out of my head. I'm 7 planets in water. What am I supposed to do? So I'm saying I'm kind of tired of Pisces too. I don't miss the pharmaceutical commercials now that I'm not watching TV. I don't miss the pharmaceutical commercials. I still sing them in my head. They got in. Like they know the secret to earworming. So we have to be careful that we don't push harder with this Aries warrior energy, because Pisces is taking its good old time getting out. But I'm kind of done, Pisces, not with you as people. I have Mars and Pisces. I'm a water sign. I'm not going to hate on my Pisces people, but I'm kind of like, I don't want the whining. If there's any whining, I don't need the whining. I don't need any of this stuff. Okay, that's just, but that's what we have to be careful about, because yeah, people are still going to have their feelings hurt. People are still going to be sensitive. People are still going to need a little hand to help them through. And Aries loves moving on. Think about this. If the mission of Aries is to be the hero, all right, to prove that they're amazing. And I have Aries friends who like have to prove they're amazing. And if you tell them you want this done, they have to do the opposite. They just have to. You get used to it after a while, trust me. They have to just do their own thing. And it's sort of annoying, but I had a nephew with 6 planets in Aries. It's like, oh my God, if I even implied that it should be done this way, it has to be done the other way. Or if you even, whatever, okay, it's just whatever. So I have my complaints with Aries too, but if we're going to bring that up, we have to remember that Pisces people and Pisces energies are still going to need a little, like a moment, okay? There's going to be the need for compassion. We still have to be friendly. We still have to like remember that other people have feelings. I have to remember that, because I kind of want to leave. That's the other Aries thing. Just, I'm out. Just let me go. I watched that on some of the things I watch on YouTube. I watched how easy it is just to dismiss somebody because you don't like what they have to say, or you don't like them where they're at. You just like, that's Aries. That's like, just move on. Well, it's also mean. So we can't have that. You can have consciousness, right? You can be like, okay, I'm going to leave, but let me leave you with this. Let me just take a breath, or I'm going to take a quick walk. And you come back around. Because it's easy to leave. It's easy to pretend that this is uncomfortable, so I'm out. I don't like what you have to say, so I'm out. I don't like your opinion, so I'm out. Whatever. It's hard. The challenge is, can I evolve this? Can I evolve my thinking? Can I evolve my patience? Can I bring something to the table here that also includes, I'm aware that I'm getting nervous on the inside. I'm aware, but can that cook a little bit? Can I cook that a little bit? Alchemy, the calcinatio stage of alchemy was when the temperature got so hot, transformation was inevitable. If you can sit on something so hot, if you can let it cook to the point where it transforms, it's life-changing. And that's for real, not just a pretty metaphor. It's easy to shake pain out. It's easy to move from an uncomfortable situation. The most uncomfortable thing I see on TV is when somebody talks and they pause and they're both looking at each other. I can't do that. What? I have to fill the space up with something, noise, something. But the times where I have shut up and sort of stayed in the present space with somebody, things changed. Like they really changed. It's hard. It's hard to harness that kind of fire. but seeds do it, and they turn into some of the most beautiful, amazing trees on the planet. I can do it. It just takes a little effort. You can do it. So rather than saying, goodbye, Pisces, see ya, thanks for everything, I'm on, we have to take a minute and we're going to take longer than a minute, and we're going to appreciate the gifts that Pisces brought to us in the past 14 years, including some of the most groundbreaking drugs, some of the most insane advancements in technology. Yes, did you hear me? Technology came when Neptune was in Pisces. Einstein was a Pisces, don't forget. So we use the Aries part not to walk away, right? But to empower. The gift of Aries. And one of the things that every Aries knows, and why every Aries looks for the dark horse and looks for the wounded, let's quote unquote, damsel in distress, is because that's where life is for them. And look at the catch-22 and why so many Aries are interestingly single. And I know that many of you are married. It's not a statement. But the whole thing about if your job is to save, to be the savior, to be the quote unquote white knight, then what happens when you did it and it worked? What next? And that becomes the story, the saga of many marriages. What happens now? Mission accomplished. It's almost like in the Enneagram, we talk a lot about, we'll talk someday, we'll have another Enneagram like talk, but it's psychological positioning. One of the numbers is the quest for love, 4. Okay. It's a quest to fit in. But what happens when they find it? If your purpose in being is to find love, what happens when you find it? Well, guess what? Many do. They push it away. Because, okay, I found it, but oh, now I see all these flaws in you, and well. That is very truly a psychological condition that Aries are known for. And we all have it. Not just because we have Aries in our charts. We all have this thing that we're questing for, that the quest becomes the real purpose, not the finding of it. Do you get how hard that is? If your mission is to find your purpose in life and you find it, do you know how many people are disappointed because they're like, no, that can't be it. That can't be it. I'm not here just to make other people happy. I'm not here just to find contentment. There's got to be more. What happens when I find it? So the quest becomes the obsession, and that's Aries' thing, the quest. All the fire signs kind of are on a quest. Nobody answers what happens without the quest. Where does the quest go when quest has been accomplished? And that's a dangerous question, because it in real life means we may not know the answer to it, and then what do we do? Okay, I'm checking the chat room. This is a conscious move of stream of consciousness. Let me see how y'all are doing. Happy spring, Gwen. 4th house Aries, JK. Okay, so when you have Aries ruling the 4th, there's like so much I could say about the independence of that household, or maybe an absent father, or maybe a challenge to the children. You have to look at your own independent, how was home independent? And Neptune's going to come along and change all that. Yeah, it is. It depends on the degree of your 4th, but you've got all that activity happening now. It looks like changes in the home too. Like, get ready. That's fun. Melissa. Gosh, this hits home. Sun, Moon, Aries, Scorpio rising. I am doing this to prove something or because I love it. Thanks for saying that. I have to figure that out. Melissa, don't obsess about it. It's sort of like the secret to understanding life is the observer. The observer just wants us to observe. You don't have to figure it out. Don't use the same mind that created the mess to try to solve it. Just go, oh, look at me doing that thing where I'm not sure again. That's all. I mean it. Pretty easy. JK, Jupiter and Virgo, we can be so picky. Oh my God, we can be picky. And in the biggest way, because, more stuff on my desk. Here's one pair of glasses. But in the same category, there's another pair of glasses. In the same category, here's another pair of glasses. Okay, there we go. And my cup, of course. You think I have to have a desk the size of a football field? But yes, okay, so Virgo can be Jupiter and Virgo. Terry says, water has memory, the kicker. I get it, Mark. Yes, water has memory. We're talking about food memory or that smell. Woo, Lord, somebody give me something to, John's like, smell the spice. And if John uses the word, it's interesting, I ain't smelling anything. That word, no. Mm-mm. No, you need to be descriptive. It's amazingly delicious. It smells like chocolate, but interesting? Leave that to the scientists. Lynn, I'm with you, Mark, says the water sign. Things can really stick. I know where we are in this conversation. I love it. Checking in late. Happy St. Patty's Day from Pamela. In a good mood for Monday. I'll take it. Yay, me too. Good morning, Mark. Glad to see you too, truly. Thank you. Okay, now, so you guys, you know that we're in a Mercury retrograde and the challenge is on to, okay, there we go. I needed my watch face back. The challenge is on to find amazing things that happen during this retrograde. So a couple things I want to remind you of. We are looking for the Venus conjunct the Sun day, which is March 22nd. And when is that? That's Tuesday of next week. Is that Tuesday of next week? Oh, good. We have a lot to talk about next week. Venus and the Sun conjunct, the end of the retrograde energy of Venus happens on that day. That's going to be a very powerful day, the 22nd. It's really good, particularly for like, I think insights, getting what you want. I'm feeling like going after something that you've been like resisting doing, or finally getting a gift that you've really felt like you've needed. Mercury does the same thing with the Sun. When it's retrograde motion, it conjuncts the Sun. And I'm looking that one up right now. And the Sun in Aries with Mercury in Aries, that one should be, okay, that's happening around the 26th, so later that week. So both of these planets going retrograde in Aries are going to hit the Sun. We look for that conjunction. Brings them closest to the place they're going to be on the Earth, like closest to the Earth in proximity. So they're going to be pretty visible. The morning star of Venus is going to be pretty visible. But it's also going to set us in a new cycle, like this new kind of, it hits the reset button. So we get to, with Mercury, we get to start looking at the Promethean cycle, look forward to things. So that's going to be important. Okay. We'll talk about those next week. But we have Chiron, Mercury, Venus, the Sun, and next week, Neptune. We are going to have 5 planets in Aries. You guys, the zeitgeist is shifting. Now, North Node was in Aries just a week ago, and now it's in Pisces. They moved. So we're giving up the Neptunian Pisces stuff for Aries, but we're remembering what it brought us, because the North Node is saying, if you want to make it through this cycle, you learn compassion. You see the bigger picture. You fight for the bigger picture. I'm not kidding. This is the brilliance of what astrology did in this cycle. The North Node, what we're here to accomplish, what we're here to do, left Aries and put itself back in Pisces where Neptune is leaving, because the nodes move backwards. So as everything went into Pisces and we're like, wow, we're done with that Pisces stuff, or everything moved into Aries and we're like, done with that Pisces stuff. And the universe is telling us, well, the secret now to manage that Aries energy is to remember the bigger picture. Remember compassion. Remember who you are. Remember that we're all one. We're all connected, whatever Pisces means to you, but it's the merge. It's looking at the bigger whole and how we use this fire to accomplish love and compassion. It's truly amazing. Pluto being in the air sign right now, all the planets being in fire right now, what do you think that means? Fire and air, right? Easy to escalate, easy to think you're right, easy to get righteous. Pull it back, people. I'm not kidding. It's easy to think you now are the aggrandized arbiter of wisdom. because Aries like to think they're right on everything they do, right? We all have that Aries part. So it's like, but Aries definitely think, no, this is how I feel. So this is what I'm doing. And they leap and they go. Maybe later, looking back after they've destroyed the China shop, they look back and go, wow, maybe I was acting too hasty. But the first initial thing is to push forward. But we're being warned and we're being told you can push forward. But here's a phrase that was used politically recently. We're going to use a scalpel now, not a chainsaw, not a hatchet. Okay? We have to do that in our lives. Don't just bust forward. Don't just run. Don't just like think you know the solution to everything. I'm telling you, if the solution is to run or to leave a situation and you already know that's available to you, why take that one first? You see what I'm saying? If you're the boss of a company, this is me, for example, and somebody does something egregious, you know you can fire them. You know you could let them go. Why would you pull that trigger? If you already know that's available to you, why does that have to be the nuclear option always? And what you find from me is it's chance after chance after chance. So if somebody does get fired from my company, I promise you, and people know this for a fact, it's probably I waited way too long because I don't like using the easy way because I could be wrong. That's why I can't own a gun. I don't want to make that decision. Like, do I pull the trigger? What? Do I just make the nuclear option ending somebody's life because I don't know what's going on? So I don't know. That's why I don't. And that's why people who do have them go, thank God you don't have one because you're an idiot or whatever. Okay? So that to me is why, if you're trying to make a decision in the world, especially during Mercury retrograde, Venus retrograde, in Aries, if you're trying to make a decision, my rules from years ago, if it's not an absolute yes, it's a no. Okay, you hear me? If you don't get an overwhelming, so if you're asking somebody's opinion about you wanting to do something, there's a really good chance in my brain, you already know the answer is no. Because when it's a yes, it's an undeniable, like, oh my God. Is my audio going in and out, you guys? I hear it too a little bit, but I'll check and see what that is. I'm sorry about that. Does everybody see that my audio is going in and out? Or let me just see if somebody would say it's okay or not, because that's a setting I probably should try to change. Okay. I'll talk close to the microphone. I know we have to figure out audio issues. Okay, good. Sounds good to me, they're saying. Good. All right. So I don't know what that is. I know audio sometimes changes, but thank you for answering me, you guys. That's really great. Okay, so remember, during these retrograde cycles, when you're trying to make a decision, and a lot of us are trying to make decisions now, if you're unsure, treat it as a no. If you're absolutely positive, don't just do it. Yes, do it, jump. There's nothing wrong with waiting, and if you're not sure of which choice to make, choose the harder one. Just for practice. Choose the one that's not so easy. My opinion. Now, that might mean you're looking at a situation where you have to quit a job. And you might need to quit because you can't take it anymore. You just hate these people. You're just being treated terribly. You just hate these people. In that situation, you can always open the door and walk out. That's a nuclear option, right? You can just leave. Sometimes you can ask for the internal observer to say, could you give me some wisdom here? Which to me is using your life like a dream. If you had this dream. If you had a dream you were in a situation where people were being mean to you, that they were taking your power away, that they made you feel less than, what part of you is emerging doing that? That's just a fun question. It's not saying you're not really in that situation. I'm just saying play with it a little bit. And my secret weapon is to ask for help. Like, could you take this and work with it, please? I don't know who I'm asking. You identify who you're asking. I'm asking a part of me that I know has not abandoned me. I'm asking a part of me that I know has never given up on me. In the worst situations of my entire life, a part of me that has never veered. I asked that part, could you help me figure this out? And I literally picture myself letting it be worked on, which means I get to take a walk with my dogs and have one moment of peace where my Jupiter and Virgo mind isn't just replaying it over and over and over, which I think is the symbol of an earworm. Like a song that just won't leave. And you know, we've discovered recently that they're triggered by sounds in the world. Like I'll hear a tune. I told you the story where I'm the French song and the timer on my oven goes off and I'm always singing when I'm baking bread that Zooby Zooby Zoo song. And I'm thinking, God, I have this French connection. No, you're just hearing your timer, dude. And your mind remembers it's the same keys. And so sometimes that's true. But yesterday, I couldn't get the Killers song out of my head. Are we human or are we dancer? It just went on and on. You have to Google it if you don't know it. It's a very catchy tune, but it's also something so wholly spiritual about it. I have no idea. That's something so deep about its meaning that when I was singing it, as I was singing it, I was like, oh my God, I just got to like let this do its thing. I don't try to figure them out anymore. I don't, because I'm so sure it's probably from another timer or, you know, another tune, but whatever. That was fun to hear, but it's fun to see like, why did that song hit? And a lot of songs are designed to hook you, right? So they're designed to be a hook. So it's kind of like, maybe it's not so metaphysical. Maybe it's scientific. Maybe that hook, you heard it somewhere, but give it a meaning because you can. Right? Give it a meaning because it's okay to give it meaning. Just don't swear by the meaning. Just like, oh God, this is such a good message. I want to embrace this message. We take our stuff way too seriously. So many times. And I've told you a million times about the little girl that came into the store when, you know, we were having an open house and she was so cute. I wanted just to kiss her up and down, and she hit somebody's knee and starts screaming, and her mom runs in and says, I knew this store had bad energy. But the mom was validating her own thoughts already. So we can do that too. So be careful. One thing that is good to validate is that you have a part of you that never stops trying to help you. What's wrong with validating that? And so when we're sitting there trying to be the good hero, Aries hero, and be the one that figures it out, and we're going to put it to our brain, there's another part that will really figure it out, and we can just give that up. Maybe. I'm not saying that's the only answer, but it's something to think about before we become like we think it's important for us to know that we solved it. So cultivating that, not a bad idea. Cultivating that little thought that something in us is really trying to be connected at all times, or not even trying, is always. I feel like there's a little nonstop pecking at my window going, you know, I'm here. No, I know you don't like that, but I'm here if you need anything. And I can't tell you how many times I use it and how grateful, deeply, profoundly grateful I am for it. And you guys reflect that. When I look in the chat room and I see the love and I see the hearts and I see, you know, you all made it a point to come and just hear me babble. Like, how does that not touch a heart? How does that not say, you know, to give pause to say that's such a reflection of the love that's in the world? And not to get silly on you, but that's the other part of Aries, not just the warrior, the ability to bring and spiritualize something. To take that fire, which in the word of all the fire signs, the word inspiration is in every single fire sign because that's what they need. They live for it. But inside the word of inspiration is the word spirit. And that's where the metaphor for has always been fire. The Holy Spirit was fire. There's always the burning bush was a message, a spiritual message. There's always these things that fire represents. How about we agree to use Aries in that way, to remember the spirituality, to remember the magic. For real, I'm not just being super silly emotional. We can use that Aries stuff to push through anything we want, but we can also use it to remember the inspiration, to be aggressive in bringing in what we consider to be our guide, our knowledge and our wisdom. We can do that. It's a freaking ask. And I believe that the forces that support us are so gentle and so kind that they don't intervene without asking, because that would assume something about us. That's how gentle I think that energy is. So, in conclusion, my lovely friends, this is going to be one of the most beautiful weeks we've had in a while, because we get a chance to really feel the inspiration of Aries bursting through the soil. I can't believe it is the 20th. I just can't believe it's March 20th. And I love that. We're here at spring now. I get to watch the snow melt. I get to think about the lawns I have to mow. And on those walks that I take with my lawnmower, I get to have this reborn in me. So it's kind of fun that we're coming out of a winter cycle, and we get to say we're coming out of winter. Because I remember talking to you about going into winter. Okay, a couple things I want to say on a business level. We're having sales Wednesday, Thursday, Friday this week at 12listen.com. Please support 12listen.com. Tell a friend. Do what you can. Also, 12radio.com. We're bringing the live streams in mass as much as we can. We're learning. We're trying to get everybody on board. And everybody's nervous about it. Why wouldn't they be? It's kind of terrifying to do this until, what is this, my 4th show? And y'all are making it so beautiful and so easy. And thank you, Nadine. I saw your note. That's so sweet. How about this? The sale, that's what, okay, that one. Okay, 12 Radio, the Power Peak. That's the other thing. The Power Peak is at markhusson.com. It's also markspowerpeak.com. C.A. Brooks, Mo Abdelbaki, Kelly Whetstone, and Ginger put together some of the most fun information you can ever imagine. And CA's daily breaking it down. Most of you are members of it. But one of the ways, if you would just send somebody the email to get on, because that keeps us healthy. That's how we know we're healthy and we're not losing people and we're kind of doing the right thing. That's what we want. And let me just say this. Thank you. Seriously. This is like the pre-Aries energy, the burst of love, the thing that I want to send out to you most of all in the world is my thanks. From my heart, because this, I wouldn't do this stuff without the strength and love that you all show and our years of being together. And I don't know, I hope we can keep it going. We are going to keep it going. There's no question. I'm not going to miss you on a Monday. And if I do, you'll know. I'll send a note out if there's something else going on, but I don't miss them. So thank you for showing up for me. Please spread the word. Help us grow this. This is what we're going to be doing. I think we're good. I'm going to check and see if there's any last thing. I'm still not great at navigating this, but we'll figure it out. Thanks, Pamela. I know, sweetheart. I'm not either. But we are going to figure it out. It's going to be easier and easier. I'll put notes in. We'll check out the sound quality. We'll make sure everything's working the way it's supposed to be. And then we get to enjoy a new level of what we're doing with Pluto and Aquarius, right? Okay. God bless. Thank you so much. This is Mark Husson. This is Mark's Astrology Hour. Wishing you the best week and happy spring.